Hi, I'm Elizabeth along with Story, and we're here to tell you about what's new in books at the Radford Public Library. And what's new is this adult nonfiction. The title is Bird Sense, What It's Like to Be a Bird, and it's written by Tim Birkhead. And this is not a brand new publication. It came out, I think, in 2012, but it's new to the library because someone requested this book. And if you were that person, I promise it will be available to you very soon. But we did order it for this person who requested it, and just in case you don't know, I want to mention very quickly that if there's ever something that you want that's not in the Radford Public Library collection, we do try to make purchases based on our patrons' recommendations and requests. And in that way, you all help us develop the library's collection. So this is a really good example of that, a book that was requested. Again, the title is Bird Sense, and if anybody out there loves birds or even has the slightest interest in birds, this book is fascinating. There's so much information about birds. This author, Tim Birkhead, is very knowledgeable about his subject, absolutely. He is a behavioral ecologist as well as an ornithologist. And for those of you who don't know, I didn't know what a behavioral ecologist does. They ask how a particular behavior increases the chances of an individual passing on its genes to the next generation. So basically, they study what birds do, and then they consider what that adaptive significance is, and also look at the causes and the developmental behavior and the evolutionary history of that behavior. So it's pretty interesting. And although it's very scientific, certainly this is someone who knows so much about birds and has studied them, has been all over the world studying birds from the Arctic to the tropics. He does write this in such a way that it's not intimidating to read. If he has to use any kind of scientific jargon, he gives the definition of it. And most everything is explained in an everyday kind of language. So it's easy to understand. And for those other words, lots of which I didn't know, there's a glossary in the back. So this is a great read. It's really entertaining. A few things that I learned in just looking at the introduction, because I haven't read the fullness of this book. One thing I learned is that birds can have an excellent sense of smell. So if you think about humans and our 5 senses of sight and touch and hearing and taste and smell, it's interesting to think about birds having all these same senses and perhaps even more. And for instance, some birds can smell earthworms through 15 centimeters of soil. So some birds really do get their food just based on smell alone, which is not something I'd ever considered. So kind of fascinating. And a few other things about birds in general that is mentioned. Look at this really quickly. Birds have a sophisticated sense of smell, which I've already said. Birds have a magnetic sense that guides them on migration. And birds also have an emotional life. So really interesting about birds. So if you're out there, you like to photograph birds, study birds, bird watch, you might really enjoy this new book, or new to us. Again, the book is titled Bird Sense, What It's Like to Be a Bird, and it's written by Tim Birkhead. It's available here at the Radford Public Library. Now, the person who requested it will have it first, and then beyond that, it'll be on the shelf for you to check out. So that's a little bit about what's new at the Radford Public Library. Thank you so much for listening. We hope to see you soon here at the library. Take care.